howdy, roofers, and welcome to Roofer Growth Hacks, the podcast that's dedicated to highlighting those in the roofing industry, learning how they overcame growth challenges with creative growth hacks, and connecting them with others in the roofing industry. I'm your host, Chris Hunter, founder and chief marketing officer of roofingsites.com. I'm also the author of The Ultimate Guide to Digital Marketing for Roofers. Well, I got a little story for y'all. Evan Hoffman is a seasoned marketing professional and fractional CMO who specializes in helping home service businesses thrive through innovative digital strategies. With a strong background in the HVAC industry and a commitment to transparency and measurable results, Evan brings valuable insights to the Roofer Growth Hacks podcast that can empower roofing contractors to elevate their marketing efforts and drive growth. So be sure to listen up as Evan shares some awesome growth hacks. All right, and welcome back to another episode of Roofer Growth Hacks. We have a special guest here, someone that I think that we're going to gain a lot of knowledge from. Evan, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, Chris. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, let's kick this off, and why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your entrepreneurial journey? Where did it start? Where are you now?
Sounds good. Well, for me, it started while I was at university. I was playing football and going through school, doing that whole thing. And I saw an ad posted for a job to get $17 per appointment. I found out after the fact that it wasn't per hour. But as a university kid back in 2007, I mean, that was pretty enticing. So called in, did the interview, and I ended up selling Cutco knives. And it was a wild journey from there. Doing direct sales, no advertising allowed, was something that I had to navigate my way through. It was all through referral-based marketing, and I ended up sticking around there for 8 years. I ran my own.
Wow.
Most kids last maybe a weekend. The turnover there is like 99, 97%. It's incredibly high. But it's just college kids, right? And so they just keep rotating through. And I stuck around. I had a blast, got really good at sales from there. And then I ended up running my own office as well. So I recruited my own sales team, built my own call center, did that whole thing. That's where I started advertising. Ran Facebook ads in 2009, trying to recruit kids to come in and work in my office. But yeah, that's kind of where it all started from there. From there, I ended up being a comfort advisor, selling HVAC equipment for a little bit. Got hit up by a headhunter, and I was excited about it because I was like, am I really good at sales, or am I just good at selling these knives? And so I took that job, worked it part-time while I was still selling knives, and got really good at that too, and was the number 2 sales guy in the business, in the office. Number 1 overall on averages, but number 2 in total sales. And again, it was just working my referral program that I had when I was at Cutco. They were providing me leads there, but the frustrating part was it was all Home Depot leads. And so we would get a 10% commission if we were getting a regular lead, or 7% if it was a Home Depot lead, because they were so expensive for the business. And obviously I didn't like to discount my commission. So I went to our general manager and I just said, hey, can I generate my own leads instead? Because I'm tired of working these Home Depot leads and having to give up 3% on all the sales that I'm making. And he's like, yeah, sure, go for it, kid. Whatever if you think that you can do it, go for it.
Knock yourself out.
All I did was I would ask people at the end of the appointment, I'd be like, hey, thanks so much for seeing me today. I really appreciate it. Like I said at the beginning, I'm not here to try and sell you anything. We put together some great packages, and I know you decided to move forward with this one, and that's really great. You took advantage of the offers that we had. But what would really help me out is if you could introduce me to 10 of your friends who might also be interested in hearing about the cool rebates and offers that we have. And what I'm going to do for you is, if you can write down 10 of your friends, I'm going to buy you a year's worth of filters for your home.
Wow.
Right. And so it cost me like $40 in filters. And I was able to get 10 leads off of them. And then I would call them and usually only book 1 or 2 into another appointment. But every single call that I ran, I would turn into at least 1 more call from there. And so the next week, I didn't need any of the Home Depot leads that the office had generated. And so then they started to listen. And then from there, I just started asking questions. Why aren't we running Facebook ads? Why aren't we running Google ads? Why aren't we doing any kind of SEO work? And this is in 2014. So those ads were super, super cheap. From there, I left and started my own magazine company. publishing my own magazines through another company as an independent contractor. And then the frustration of, the magazine's great. We're getting some good exposure in this area where it's getting delivered to, but my website sucks and I don't know who built it. And I paid so much money for it and I don't know how to fix anything. And it's too complicated and I need more calls. How can you help me? And so I ended up starting my own digital agency from there. I did that for the last 4 years, and now I am a fractional CMO with free agency. So there's I tried to shorten it up there at the end, but that's the whole journey.
No, that's super cool, right? And I think that, the roofers listening to this, I think y'all need to pay attention to what Evan here was talking about on the referral program, right? So let's dig further, a little bit further into that right there, right? So most roofers that I know, they say that they've got a roofer, or sorry, a referral program, right? But it's in the owner's mind, and it's none of their employees know about it,
Mhm.
and their customers don't even know about it, right? So what would you recommend roofers listening to this right now? Like, how do you start a good referral program and like roll that out? Like in this day and age, digitally as well as in person.
So a couple thoughts. One, the first question that you need to pay attention to is
Mhm.
what's in it for me.
Yeah.
If you're not constantly thinking about that for your technicians, your roofers,
Hmm.
the customer, then no one's going to do it for you. You need to incentivize people to take action. That's why I
Hmm.
offered to buy filters. That's why
Yeah.
at Cutco, we would give out either discounts or I would give them a free peeler. And I just
Hmm.
took the script that I had at Cutco for referrals and
Yeah.
I transferred it over to HVAC and I was able to run it there. For me, the incentive as the comfort advisor was an extra 3% commission. So I would pay $40 for an extra 3% all day long because
Yeah.
it made out to be a big winner for me.
Yeah.
Um, so you need to incentivize your roofers as well. If you're wanting them to ask for referrals, build out an actual script for them, and then they
Mm.
need to understand the why. Why is this important? As a company, how much are you willing to pay to acquire a customer? And
Right.
then it doesn't make sense to transfer that instead of paying Facebook or Google or Home Advisor or Angie's List that money. What if you gave that back to your roofers for every referral that they turned into closed business?
Hmm.
Have some sort of an incentive program for them, but you got to make sure that they understand why. Jocko Willink talks about that in his books with Extreme Leadership. If you're not
Yeah.
able to convey the why behind what it is that you're asking your team to do, they're never going to go into battle for you. They're never going to go to
Yeah.
bat for you. So it's incredibly important.
Love that. Absolutely love that. So is this, when you're talking about this, just the program itself, right? Incentivizing, starting there. Okay. So I typically recommend to our clients a $250 gift card, either to, Texas Roadhouse, because you can, down here in the South, we have Texas Roadhouse, right? And you can co-brand that gift card, right, with your
Right.
logo. Um,
Right.
is that enough? Is that sufficient? Is that good
I
enough?
think that's a great place to start. The one
Okay.
caveat with gift cards that I know you have to be
Mhm.
careful of in the US. In Canada, this isn't an issue, but in the
Yeah.
US, you do because gift cards you can only write off $25 of,
Interesting.
right?
Yeah.
And so if you give something that's branded, now it's
Yeah.
marketing material and it's
Right.
not a gift,
Right.
right? So go that route instead, always.
Love that.
Um,
Yeah.
there's a really cool company. It's called Licorum, I believe is how you pronounce it. I can send you the link for it afterwards. You can throw it in the show
Okay.
notes.
Yep.
Um, but what they do is a branded Visa gift card or MasterCard gift card.
Mm.
So you can
Yeah.
get your logo put on it. So now it's branding, now it's marketing,
Hmm.
and it's really easy to track because you have a link.
Yeah.
And so for every successful referral that a customer sends to you, you can send them a gift card or you can send them a discount for your services if that's something that you'd rather do. So they can earn a free roof. And maybe they started with a repair and now they're going to
Yeah.
end up earning a free roof because they sent you 10 leads that turned into closed business. So
Yeah.
that one's really great because it's easy to track,
Yeah.
right? One of the biggest hurdles with any kind of a referral program, especially an ongoing one for customers and things like that, is the tracking.
Mhm.
How do you track who
Yeah.
got their gift card and who didn't? Because the easiest
Right.
way to ruin a relationship is to not follow through on what it is that you said you were going to do.
Exactly. Yep.
So
So
make sure
what
that
do you
you've got some
recommend
sort
on
of a
that end?
system.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you got to have a system. It could be a spreadsheet that you just
Hmm.
track it on. It could be a yellow piece of paper that you have up in your office.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah.
matter, but you need to have something, some sort of a way that you can track where the referrals are coming from and making sure that those people are made whole, whether it's
Love
the
it.
technicians, the roofers, the sales guys, or customers themselves.
Love it. Now, now digging further into all of this, you're the Cutco system, right? Is I think the success of that is asking for 10,
Right.
right? So how do you recommend that anyone, like, if they've got their tracking in place, they've got the offer in place, right? How do they roll this out to their sales staff to implement this whole idea here of getting 10 for every client that you get in?
Yeah. The next part is the script,
Hmm.
right? You got to have a set script that handles every objection up front. Easiest time to handle an objection is up front, right? We've all
Yeah.
heard this in sales.
Yeah.
So how do we build this into our script and make sure that we take care of it? Well,
Mhm.
one of the things that I always did when I was selling is before I even got into the product, before I even went and looked at the equipment, I would dive right into, hey, just so you know, I'm here to provide you with some options today. You
Yeah.
inquired about this, or I reached out to you to show you the rebates, and we're definitely going to get to that. But my goal here today isn't to sell you anything. My goal is just that you like me enough and you might consider introducing me to some of your friends, just like Betty introduced me to you, right?
Love that.
And now I've already set the table up front before I've even taken out anything, before I've tried to sell anything. I'm trying to diffuse the whole salesman relationship
Yeah.
and just make another friend, right?
Okay.
And I'm setting the table for the fact that I'm gonna ask for referrals at the end of the
Yeah.
presentation anyways,
Right.
right?
Right.
So that's how I set it up front. And then when I actually got to the end of it, that's when I would roll into a set script that I had wrote out. And again, I reminded them that I was going to ask them
Yeah.
and dove into that part first. Then I went into talking about the benefits to them. And then if objections come up, because they usually do,
Yeah.
the best part is once you get one referral, it's so much easier to get referrals after that. Because if they say, oh, I don't want to pressure my friends like that,
Yeah.
you can always just flip it back on them. You're like, oh, I'm sorry. Was I pressuring you?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it just starts to diffuse it from there. Like, great, I'm going to give them the exact same experience that I gave you today. Were you glad that you found out about these rebates? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool. I'm only going to let them know about the rebates. I'm not going to try and sell them something that they don't need. If they've got a brand new system in there, because
Yeah.
nobody talks about their HVAC system, nobody talks about their
Yeah.
roof, right? So I'm just going to let them know that these offers exist. And if they want to see it, we'll set a time and I'll come by and I'll show them to them. But if they don't, no worries. I'm not going to pester them because I don't like being pestered either.
Yeah. Well, and I could totally see, that as these conversations start happening, you could massively, and like you said, within a week, is that what you said? Within a week, you were out of the Home Depot
Yeah.
leads coming in.
Yeah.
Wow,
It was
that's
1 week.
that's amazing. So imagine if they did that with like Angie's leads or with, even their own leads coming in through local service ads or pay-per-click ads or anything like that. I can imagine you can massively, you know, build that referral program, your referral network per salesperson
Hmm.
massively within, I mean, imagine doing that for a month, a year, whatever, right?
Well, and that's just it. Like a lot of people talk about how they have a word of mouth program. Any
Hmm.
small company too, you'll ask
Yeah.
them like, where do your customers come from? And
Yeah.
oh, word of mouth. Like I
Yeah.
work entirely off of word of mouth, and
Yeah.
a lot of companies will wear that as almost a badge of honor,
Yeah.
which I admire the hell out of, but they still don't have a set program for it. They just
Yeah.
allow it to happen organically,
Right.
which most people don't talk about their HVAC system, their roof.
Mhm.
It's not regular conversation.
No.
And so it was the same thing even with the kitchen knives that I was selling. Nobody
Yeah.
brings it up. Nobody talks about it. The only time that people talk about stuff is when it's not working or they have a
Yeah.
bad experience,
Right.
right? So we want to talk about the good times and we need to try and reinforce that and plant that seed so that we can actually have some real conversations about it and run it like a real program now, just like
Yeah.
we do with our Google ads or our LSA or our Angie's list. Look,
Yeah.
Angie's ads, when we get a lead from there, we got to respond to it really quickly, and we need to
Yeah.
build out a set program in order to do that. Why wouldn't we do that on referrals too?
Yeah. Love it. Love it. All right. So, all right, pivoting a little bit here, right? You talked about how you're you're now a fractional CMO. Okay.
Yes.
Let's kind of dig into that a little bit there and really, and I know that you said earlier that you're helping agencies, right? But if you were coming in as a fractional CMO to a roofing company, what's the first things that you're looking at?
Yeah. So, and just to correct that, we are fractional CMO for home service companies.
Okay. Okay.
The fun part is now I get to work with agencies, which was the side that I was on before.
Yeah,
So I get to work with their vendors and help
I see.
them succeed at a higher level and just have a different level of accountability with them because I know
Right.
that side. So sad. Sorry to go back to the question. What is it you had asked again?
What's the first things that you're looking for, as you come into, any kind of roofing company, or home service company, whatever, you're coming into that company, what are the first things that you're
Mhm.
digging into?
First thing is we need to look at historicals. What has
Mm,
happened,
yeah.
right? Do we have proper tracking in place? Do we have call tracking numbers set up for every campaign? Do we have those campaigns properly mapped within Service Titan or House Call Pro or whatever platform you're using?
Yeah.
Searchlight is a great one. Making sure that we've got proper attribution channels coming in, and it's never going to be perfect. It's
Yeah.
impossible to get 100% attribution, but we got to get as close as we possibly can. So that's number one is making sure that we've got the proper attribution channels and that we've got the proper tracking in place. Now we're going to start looking at historicals. What's happened in the last 12 months, 18 months, 24 months that's allowed us to get to this point? What is
Mhm.
it that we need to replicate and keep doing? What is it that we need to start doing more of that's
Yeah.
really working well and we can double down on? And what do we need to stop doing altogether?
Love that. Love it.
Yeah.
So, so, all right, digging into all of that, who's your ideal client then, right? That you want to work with, and how exactly can you help them?
So for us, and this isn't my company, by the way, Brianna Skiffington, she's the head of it. She brought me on board to join the team and can be more excited to work with her. And she's absolutely brilliant. But our ideal customer is an 8-figure or more business. So they're doing at least 10 million in annual revenue is our ideal customer. Why? Because they've done what it takes operationally to
Mhm.
get to that point.
Yeah.
And now it's really built a strong foundation within an organization that we can come in, pour gasoline on the fire, start
Mhm.
paying attention to all these different marketing channels that exist that are bringing leads into the business and looking at how can we get a 4, 8, 12x ROAS on all of your advertising spend.
So, and I know what the answer to this is, but just for everyone listening, what is ROAS?
ROAS is return on advertising spend.
Right. And why is that important there?
It's looking at not just your ROI, return on investment, but what is the actual return on the spend that you're putting into the different marketing channels. If you don't know what it is that you're getting back, you don't know if that channel is profitable. Now, that only starts to paint a picture, by the way. That
Yeah.
doesn't tell the whole story. And that's why making sure that you've got your operational KPIs are so important. What's your booking rate? What's your answer rate? What's your abandon rate on those calls? What's your run rate on the calls that you do book? And then from
Mhm.
there, what's your close rate and average ticket? If you don't have the whole picture of what's going on in that sales funnel, then you don't know what's missing and where those leaks possibly are. That's why marketing companies usually get the blame, is
Yeah.
because they're at the top of the funnel. And if we don't have enough jobs on the board, it's got to be their fault because they're at the top of the funnel. And
Right.
we are often blind to everything that's happening in between.
Yeah. Like answering one out of every 10 phone calls, right? I see that
Exactly.
commonly in the
Yeah,
roofing industry.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or,
So,
and we just saw this the other day. And by the way, this is a big company, right? But CSR answers the call and the customer's kind of explaining the offer that they saw on the website.
mhm,
And the CSR didn't know what the offer was. So there wasn't proper communication there from the decisions that were made on what the
yeah.
offers were coming down to the CSRs. And so now they got confused. So they ended up spending 12 minutes on the phone with the customer and talked them out of booking the appointment with them.
Whoa. Yeah,
right?
that's not cool.
All because they thought that this wasn't their site. They thought that they were calling a different business and they got confused. And so they talked them out of it. And of course, a confused customer says no, right? So making sure that there's proper communication there on what offers are going out and what
Yeah.
the CSR needs to do. Because when you're marketing on a PPC landing page or your LSA ad or Angie's or Home Advisor or Yelp or any of the other directories that exist, you
Hmm.
need to make sure that there's congruency there with the
Hmm.
offers that you're putting out, but then also making sure you're communicating that back to your staff.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I've listened to phone calls where like the CSR didn't even know their own service area, right?
Yeah,
Or their own services. They had to put someone on hold to go ask someone, "Hey, do we do this?" You know, that just blew my mind. And it was a bigger company like
right.
what you're talking about too here.
Yeah,
And so, absolutely make sure that you're the frontline people know what your services are and where you serve at a minimum,
100%.
and set the appointment. I can't tell you how many times I've listened to phone calls that they just took the information and handed it off to a sales rep, but
Well, and
those
I'll give you
homeowners are long
another
gone.
I'll give you another resource here. Lace AI, lace.ai is a great
Mm.
one for tracking the call center and what's
Okay.
happening there. Because
Okay.
it's let's face it, it's impossible for anyone to listen to every single call that comes into a home service
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
There's way too many of them. There's a lot of spam that comes in. We get that, you know that. So having something that can provide you with the actual information that's
Mm.
unbiased because it's not a human being
Yeah.
is incredibly important. And that's where Lace AI comes in. They identify the profit centers within the business and the opportunities that are there. So now it can give your call center manager, your general manager, whoever it is that's overseeing your CSRs, the owner,
Mhm.
the opportunity to get in a summary who on your team needs to improve what when it comes to
Yeah.
overcoming objections on the phone and allowing everyone to improve their booking rate. And now it gives the owner or the call center manager a real understanding of what's happening on the phone.
Love that. Love that. And I had to write that down because that's a good tip right there, especially if you've got a high volume of phone calls coming in. We've got a client that's 2,000 calls in, last month. Like
Yep.
that's a lot of phone calls to go through. So
Yep.
yeah, cool.
Yeah. To
So
have an AI that can do that is
oh
incredibly
yeah,
important. Yeah.
yeah.
Saves so much
So
time.
so that leads me into another thing. What kind of trends, in the marketing industry are you advising your clients to get into?
I mean, social is a big
Hmm.
one
Yeah.
because it right now I mean, AI video is coming a long way, but it's
Yeah.
still not there yet to the point that someone could replicate you
Yeah.
on camera.
Right.
It needs to be you, it needs to be your technicians. But yeah, social is just such an untapped thing. Most companies are unwilling to really dive into it. And
Yeah.
so it is the low-hanging fruit. It is
Yeah.
your opportunity to get out there in front of people and show
Mhm.
your personality and build your brand in a community in a market.
Yeah.
Yeah, most companies just won't do it. They'll do the
Mhm.
standard static posts of a
Yeah.
technician working that may or may not actually be their technician. It might just be a stock photo,
Yeah.
the standard post of the review, things like that. And you need to put out real content that's actually going to benefit people. And
Hmm.
I had this conversation with Zach Garside, who does email marketing.
Yeah.
Uh, people talk about information and that
Hmm.
we're in the information age and that everyone wants more information and education and just educate people.
Yeah.
People don't want education.
Yeah.
Who was excited to go to school as a kid? Like
Right.
very few people. People want
Right.
to be entertained. And so when you can entertain them through social and put a layer of education within it, now you're going to win.
Love that. Entertain, don't just educate. That's so, and which is totally opposite of what most people think, right? They're like, oh, I've got to educate, education sells, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. But
Yep.
yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't go to. I mean, I watch Discovery Channel shows, right? That kind of stuff, but it's there for entertainment, not for education, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, if it was all about education, then every single Super Bowl ad would be someone sitting in front of a camera talking about their product and
Right.
nobody would watch it.
Right. Yeah. You got
Right.
to entertain.
People come for the entertainment. They come
Yeah.
for the excitement. They want to laugh. They want to feel something.
Yeah.
So elicit those emotions.
Well, how does a roofing company do that? How do they like? What if they're just not entertaining, right? And they can't come up with ideas on how to do that. What would your recommendation on that be?
One of my favorites is like people are addicted to seeing gross things.
Okay.
Like I don't know why, like the pimple popping videos, just for some reason people get stuck on it and they can't wait to watch it pop and it's so gross and it's nasty and it's disgusting and I hate
Yeah.
it, but
Yeah.
so many people love to watch it.
Right.
When you pull up the shingles and there's mold on the roof and you
Yeah.
put your foot through it,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
people want to see that, the dead animals and weird stuff like that that
Yeah.
happens, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, anything that's gross, it does elicit emotion
Yeah.
and it provides education. And then you can talk about, up here, you got to have ice dam on the roofs. Otherwise, the ice damming happens and ruins your roof. Down in the south, and probably there's other things that you need to be talking about and focused on, but
Yeah.
it's the idea of how can you provide education through
Mhm.
that it factor, that gross factor. Like, what is the hook that's
Yeah.
going to get them to watch the next 5 seconds of your video? Because otherwise,
Yeah.
someone's scrolling already.
Love that. Love it. I have a friend who has a pest control company, and he's constantly doing videos of exactly what you're talking about, the gross
Yep.
stuff, right?
Yep.
And I mean, he doesn't have to do marketing at all, honestly, because his videos are so widespread and
Right.
everyone just goes to his either channel or Facebook page or Instagram page to see those things. So
Totally.
that's yeah, I could totally see roofers doing that.
ASMR videos are also good ones, which, especially with the nail guns on the roof,
Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
yeah, people would watch that
Yeah,
endlessly. I don't know
yeah,
why. People get hooked on it. They like it. It
yeah.
works.
And what is that say, just for the people that are listening to this, what is ASR?
ASMR videos, it's
ASMR.
yeah, it's the nails on the chalkboard. It's the tapping of nails. It's the sensory attention is
Gotcha.
what it really is. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
how can you play to the senses. And so, the tapping of the nail gun and doing it in
Hmm.
rhythm
Hmm.
on the roof is something that it would attract people. And you don't have to
Yeah.
talk, you don't have to put words on it, just
Yeah.
that. And it
Right.
works. We had a client with our agency down in Austin, Texas. It was a carpeting company doing carpet
Yeah.
installs. And yeah, just the stretching of the carpet and then the nailing it down. And people loved it. And they got like 1.4 million views on Instagram for their reel. And it was just an ASMR video. So
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah. And imagine if you did that on every job, right? And
right.
you just pulled out that $1,000 machine sitting in your pocket, right? And took a video like that of you doing work, good work anyways. I'd love that idea.
Yeah. Autoto auto autonomous sensory meridian response is what it stands for. But yeah,
Gotcha.
it's your sensories.
Interesting. All right. Well, learning something new. So that's super, super cool, right? All right. We're going to pause here to listen to a message from our sponsor before we head into our lightning round. RoofingSites.com. Since 2018, RoofingSites.com has helped roofers double their sales by getting their marketing right using the 4R roofing marketing system. If you're a roofing company owner wanting to grow your business, be sure to go to roofingsites.com and sign up for a roofing marketing strategy session with me. All right. And we are back for the lightning round. You ready, Evan?
Let's do it.
All right, we got one rule here and one rule only. You have 1 minute or less to answer each of these questions. All right, so here
You
we
got
go.
it.
What is your favorite personal hack? This could be a book, podcast, anything goes. We're roofer growth hacks. We just want to learn your personal hack.
The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay
Mhm.
Papasan. It's my favorite book. Uh, it talks about reducing it to the ridiculous. We've heard of the Pareto principle. 80% of the
Mhm.
results come from 20% of the actions. This is
Yep.
reducing it to the ridiculous, and it's picking that one thing. What is one thing
Mhm.
that, if I do it correctly, is going to make everything else easier or irrelevant? Is the main idea behind it. Picking that one thing that you have to do every day. It's not going to the gym, it's setting out your shoes and you're setting out your clothes the night before so that it's done and you just wake up and you do it. That kind of a thing. What is that one thing that you need to do daily to make sure that everything else becomes easier and necessary?
Love it. Love it. All right, next question. What is your favorite business hack. This could be, again, podcast, book, whatever, anything goes here.
Spreadsheets. Everything lives in the spreadsheets. It allows you to pull and extract data, and then you can upload that into AI. I think AI is being vastly underused for what it's capable of, to be able
Yeah.
to analyze a tremendous amount of data instantly and then provide you with information back really quickly. It's incredibly useful. Highly recommend it. If you're not using AI on a daily
Yeah.
basis right now,
Yeah.
you need to start, and just start by asking it questions and diving in and start using it more and more.
Love it.
You can automate so much in your business if you would just leverage AI and GPT or Perplexity or anything like that.
And and just kind of digging into there, what's your favorite AI platform right now?
Right now, I am using GPT more just because that's where I have the paid membership to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like it as much. I'll be very honest on that too. I think the other ones are better, Perplexity, Claude, that kind of thing. But yeah,
Mhm.
that's just the one that's on my phone, so I go to it.
Yeah. Nice. All right, Evan. Next question. What is the best advice that you have ever been given? And you get bonus points here if you tell us how you actually applied it.
All right. So for my very first Father's Day, I was given The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And in the book, he talks about, most people think that luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And it was an okay definition, but it wasn't the best one. And he says that it's when preparation plus attitude, which is your belief and mindset, plus opportunity, plus action, that's what equals luck. Because if you don't actually do something about it, you're never going to actually understand what it is that's coming your way, that good thing. And so, perfect definition of this is, when my business partner came to me and said, "Hey, it's time to terminate the partnership," I started reaching out to some people, and Brianna was one of those people for advice. And she came to me and said, "Hey, tell you what, I know you're in a shitty situation right now, but I would love to have you on my team. And I could not be happier to be a
Nice.
part of this organization right now with free agency."
Love it. Love it. All right, Evan, how can the Roofer Growth Hacks family get in touch with you? How can we support you and encourage you moving forward?
So a couple ways. One, I also have a podcast. So if you wanted to check that out, it's rebranding right now. We're going to be launching the first episodes here this month. HVAC Success Secrets Revealed was the previous one. Those episodes are still going to exist. There's
Mhm.
250 of them, but Let's Vent is the new podcast, and it's really playing to all of the trades. Venting is involved in all of it, hence the play on words. But we want to make sure that we're focusing on every trade and diving into real business advice that is going to help everyone move their business forward, from operations to finance to marketing, to the call center to relationships, leadership. We're going to dive into all of it. And so definitely check it out. Let's Vent podcast is where you're going to find us on all the podcast channels and on YouTube.
Love it. Love it. Awesome. Awesome. Evan, thank you so much for coming on. I know that I learned a lot. I mean, I'm in the marketing, stuff every single day, but loved everything that you shared with us. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
No worries. It was a pleasure.
Well, how about that, roofers? Was that pretty awesome or what? I know that I could have geeked out with Evan all day long talking about marketing and business principles and all sorts of things. I gotta say, I had a couple of really good takeaways that I took away from that episode. The first is when he talked about his referral program, right? That he learned at Cutco and implemented that into his sales strategy, for the HVAC company, where he went from basically not even like he was giving up 3% of his commissions every single time with the Home Depot leads, and so I think it's a great something great that we can put into action. And honestly, I used it on him, right? Asking who I can interview for the podcast. But I think that's something that we can put into action for how we increase our sales, okay, and how we can ask and really implement that referral program. Referral programs are huge. It's one of the biggest things that you can do for your business, and it is one of the four pillars of my 4R roofing marketing system. Okay, so it's something that I think that every roofer should be putting into action. Okay, so he gave us 3 tips there. Create a great incentive. Make sure that it hits what's in it for me. For that homeowner. Number two, create the script, okay, and improve that script and ensure that you're implementing that into your sales process. And then final is just simply ask for 10 other homeowners, right? What other 10 other homeowners do you know that I can contact, and I will give you this X, whatever it is that you're going to do, right, for those, just getting that list. Now, we talked about a $250 gift card, but I think that something smaller might be in order, right, in order to get a list of 10 other homeowners. Now, it could be a small ask like a Starbucks gift card or something like that. All right. Or, for that list of 10, but if anyone converts out of those 10, maybe you do give and incentivize those people with a $250 gift card. Okay. Next, his social media hack. Okay. That was awesome. I loved what he talked about with entertaining, not educating. And he gave the example of, possibly mold on the roof, or, if you've put your foot through the decking, let's highlight that into a very short video and put that on social media. Okay. And we all have these types of things that we encounter on a day-to-day basis. And let's just start telling those stories and entertaining and educating, not just educating, but, let's take it a step further and entertain. Last bit of advice that he gave was for the formula of luck that he got from the Compound Effect book. I had to look it up because I haven't read that book. Believe it or not, that's just not one of the books that I've read yet. It's gone on to my Audible already, and the book is already ordered. But I love the advice there for the formula of luck, right? Most people think of luck, and I had to look it up. Seneca actually said it was preparation plus opportunity equals luck, right? And in fact, the direct quote is, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity, right? Well, in this book, it actually talks about preparation plus attitude plus opportunity plus action equals luck. Okay. And I think that's just something that we should take to mind here, is that if you add in attitude and action, attitude meaning mindset, that of being in a growth mindset versus, not in a growth mindset, and willing to take that action, okay, and get outside of your comfort zone. I think that's where all of this whole luck formula comes in effect there. Okay. All right, so those are my three big takeaways from this episode with Evan. Well, that's going to do it for another great episode of Roofer Growth Hacks. I hope you enjoyed this episode and that you connect with Evan online. I also hope that you connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook or our website at roofergrowthhacks.com. And while you're out there, you can listen to previous episodes. I also want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, roofingsites.com. Since 2018, roofingsites.com has helped roofers double their sales by getting their marketing right using the 4R roofing marketing system. If you are a roofing company owner and wanting to grow your business, be sure to go to roofingsites.com and sign up for a roofing marketing strategy with me. Also, this past year, I published my book, The Ultimate Guide to Digital Marketing for Roofers. If you're a roofing company owner and you don't have this book in your hands, I will send it to you for free. Just go to go.roofingsites.com and I'll send you a free digital copy of my book. Well, roofers, join me next time when we'll connect with another great roofing entrepreneur and learn how they hack their growth. Until then, I'm Chris Hunter. Thanks and gig 'em.